Hi, it's Ellie from the Radiant Form. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we've got a really challenging sequence that is going to include a lot of twists and a lot of core strength and hopefully get all the blood flowing and help us feel a little bit better. I don't know about you, but I could always use some more joy and energy. So today, my affirmation intention is I am joyful and energetic. So go ahead and bring your hands to your heart center and take a moment to connect, feeling your breath, feeling the weight of your body on your mat, all the points of contact, really becoming aware of our body and space. Maybe even feeling your heart beating underneath your thumbs. Letting the hips sink down and the spine become long as we prepare for our asana practice. I am joyful and energetic. Listening deeply inside as we move through this practice today. We'll come into a child's pose. Knees wide apart on the mat if that feels good. And if it doesn't, go ahead and have them together. I'm going to have my knees wide, toes touching, arms extended long in front of me. Stretching out through the shoulder girdle, letting my forehead sink down towards the mat. Taking just a few breaths here as we continue to get ourselves settled. Readying our attention and our bodies for the challenging practice ahead. Letting my heart sink toward the mat. Hips stretch back, lower back begin to wake up. Inviting our blood to move through our body with ease. And then we'll come up onto hands and knees. And right away today, walking the hands forward just a little bit, hands shoulder width apart, toes tucked under, hip width apart. We'll lift up that tailbone, keeping the spine nice and long, lifting into our downward dog. So just take a few minutes here to get adjusted, walking the feet forwards and backwards, half inch at a time. Just let yourself find your solid foundation here. The more stability we can find along the midline of the body, the more movement we can have in all our extremities, our hands and our feet, and our legs and arms. We want them to be able to move flexibly, but coming from a place of stability. So go ahead, walk your feet, pedaling them out, pressing one heel toward the mat, and then the other. Stretching out through the hips, pressing through all 10 fingers, lifting through the arms, and sending energy down the legs. One more full cycle of breath. And then we'll slowly walk up toward the front of the mat. So try to keep your spine long the whole time here. So bending the knees as much as you need to then. Walking our feet up, keeping them hip width distance this time. And just fold over the legs. Ragdoll here. You can bend one knee and then the other. Grabbing at the elbows or just letting the arms dangle wherever they are. And then we'll take a nice roll up here. So gather energy up from the earth. Really imagine you could pull it up into the heels all the way up the legs. And then rolling up
one vertebrae at a time, drawing firmly up through that lower belly, keeping our foundation strong, feeling all points of contact with the earth, feeling as the legs begin to turn on here, strong through the backs of the legs, strong through the hamstrings, and keeping that core tight to support the lower back as we just roll up, dangling it out. Nice slow roll up, feeling the head come up last. And then we'll lift our arms up, big inhale, and exhale, hands to the heart. I am joyful and energetic. Go ahead, walk your feet in so your big toes touch and your heels are slightly apart. We'll just stand here, rolling the shoulders back a few times. Inhaling up and exhaling, shoulder blades down, the back body. And then come to stand, pelvis slightly tucked, collarbones nice and wide. Take a few neck rolls here, either just the front or all the way around, whatever feels good on your neck, ear to shoulder. And we will do 3 rounds of sun salutation A. So inhaling, lifting the arms up. Exhale, fold forward with a flat back, bending the knees as much as you need. Hands to the earth or shins, folding forward. Halfway up on the inhale, hands to shins or thighs. Nice straight back. And exhaling, folding forward, coming back, stepping into our plank pose, knees up or down. Chin and chest down to the mat, toes point straight back behind you, thumbs to the lower ribs, lifting up into our cobra pose. And exhaling back into downward dog. 3 breaths. Pressing especially through that thumb and first finger, rotating those inner elbows forward and those upper arms back. Lifting up through the tailbone. And then stepping forward, coming back to halfway lift, and exhaling forward fold. Inhaling back up, standing, slight back bend, exhale, hands to heart center. Twice more, just like that. Inhale up, exhale, folding forward, swan dive over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stepping back into plank pose, knees up or down, chaturanga or knees chin to chest. Rolling the shoulder heads back, lifting up into cobra or upward dog, and exhaling back into downward dog. Finding stability here. Lifting up through the fingers to take pressure off the wrists. Keeping that length through the spine. And stepping back up between the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Nice flat back. And inhaling up to standing. Slight back bend, open up the heart. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more time. Inhaling, arms up. Joyful and energetic. Exhaling, swan dive. Flat back, folding forward over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift, squeezing the shoulder blades together, keeping that spine nice and long. Exhaling, back into plank, chaturanga or knees, chin and chest down. Rolling up into cobra or upward dog and upward dog, thighs and knees off the floor. Either way, toes pointing straight back. And exhaling into downward dog. Inhaling, lengthening the spine. Exhaling, pressing hands and feet into the earth. Our gaze is between the feet or knees. Keeping those hands shoulder width apart or a little wider. And stepping or jumping forward, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. And standing up. Big breath, open heart. I am joyful and energetic. Hands to heart center. All right, we're going to pick up the pace a little bit. So inhaling, bend the knees, keeping the knees over the ankles, not letting them come forward of the toes. Arms up in a chair pose. Strong belly here, tucking the pelvis. Take a nice deep breath here. Inhaling, lifting, exhale, sinking a little deeper. Big inhale. And open arm twist to the right, keeping the knees just as they are. Big exhale, inhaling back to center. Exhaling, open arm twist to the left. Inhaling back into chair pose. And exhaling, folding forward into our standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale into downward dog, flowing either straight to downward dog or coming through a vinyasa. And right away here, lifting up the right leg into a three-legged dog, keeping the hips level, and exhaling it forward between our hands, coming into low lunge. I'm coming right into a twisted low lunge, actually. So left hand right on the inside of that right foot and twisting open. Big, deep inhale. And exhaling back into low lunge, lifting up that back leg and squeezing the legs together, coming up into high lunge, knee right over the front ankle. One more inhale here, and exhale, open up into warrior two. Heel to arch alignment, back foot parallel with the back edge of the mat, tilting the pelvis under a little bit, head over heart, heart over pelvis. Looking out over that middle finger, squeeze the shoulder blades together slightly. Inhaling, reverse. Keeping that front knee bent. Exhaling into our vinyasa. Either knee, chin, chest, or coming into chaturanga. Inhale, big open heart. Shoulder blades squeeze down the back. Exhaling into our downward dog. And stepping or hopping forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling, fold forward. We'll do that whole same thing on the second side. So bending the knees. Inhaling up into chair pose. Making sure that our shoulders aren't hunching up around our ears. Softening them out, widening the arms if needed. Inhaling. Exhaling, open arm twist to the left first this time. And inhaling back into chair pose. Exhale, open up to the right. Keep trying to keep that pelvis tucked. Inhaling up into chair pose. Turning on those legs, spinning the inner thighs down, squeezing these together, and exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, and stepping or hopping back into our plank pose, chaturanga or knees, chin, chest. Coming up into cobra or upward dog. And exhaling into downward dog. Right away, lifting up that left leg on the inhale, hips nice and even. And exhaling, bringing that leg forward between the hands. Go ahead, lower that back knee, right hand right on the inside of the left foot, knee over ankle, twisting open into a twisted low lunge, warming up the spine, back into our low lunge. Now squeeze through the hips, pull that left hip back, lift the back knee, and rise up into high lunge. Sinking down here, front knee right over that ankle. Opening up into warrior two, heel to arch, back foot parallel with the back edge of the mat. Open that chest, shoulders sink down away from the ears, gaze is out over the middle finger. And inhaling, reverse. Exhale, bending more through the front knee. Inhaling, rising back up, and windmilling the arms back down into our chaturanga vinyasa or knees, chin, chest. Rolling the shoulder heads back, open heart. Exhaling back into downward dog. One more time through that whole sequence. So big breath in, Inhaling, letting the energy rise up through our hands all the way along the spine. Exhale it down the legs. Stepping or hopping forward. Inhale up. Exhale, folding forward, and inhale, stand all the way up. Hands to heart center. I'm joyful and energetic. I begin to feel that energy flowing through my body. Inhaling, bend the knees. Lifting up into chair pose. Softening the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, open up to the right. Open arm, chair pose. And back into chair pose. Opening the arms up to the left. Inhaling to chair pose. Exhale, folding forward. Drawing into the lower belly. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, step or hop back into plank pose. Chaturanga or knees, chin, chest. Rolling your shoulder heads back. Toes point straight back behind you. And exhaling into downward dog. Big exhale here. Inhale, lifting up the right leg. Hips nice and level. And exhale, draw it forward between the hands. Lowering the back knee. Left hand plants on the inside of the right foot and twisting open into our twisting low lunge. Big inhale here, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And exhale, back into low lunge. Pulling that right hip gently back, squeezing the inner thighs together, lifting the back knee and coming up into high lunge. Settling here on the exhale. One more big inhale, head over heart, heart over pelvis. And exhale, open up into warrior two. Great. Inhale, reverse warrior. Really opening up through that side body. And exhale, windmill the arms down. Coming back into plank, straight into downward dog or through a vinyasa. And exhaling back into downward dog. Big inhale and exhale here, and then inhaling, lifting up that left leg. Toes point straight down, foot firmly flexed. And exhale, bringing that leg forward between the hands. Lower the back knee, knee right over the ankle. Plant my hand down and twisting open on the inhale into our twisting low lunge, drawing firmly through the belly and imagining that long line of energy all the way just flowing out of the crown of my head. Exhaling back into low lunge. Squeezing the inner thighs together, lift that back knee up and rising up into high lunge. Big inhale here. Exhale, sink in a little. Inhale, exhale, open into warrior two. Bending through the front knee. Does not have to be parallel with the earth. We just want to make sure that our knee is not forward of our ankle, protecting our joints. Always, always protecting the body that you live in. Big open energy through the arms here. Inhaling back into reverse warrior, keeping my pelvic floor and my lower belly nice and strong. Big line of energy opening up through the side body. And exhale, windmill the arms down. With grace and ease. Back into plank pose, chaturanga or knees, chin, chest. Back into downward dog. Big breath in here. Spinning the inner elbows forward and the outer upper arms back. Pressing firmly through the thumb and first finger. Exhaling, spinning the inner thighs back. Gaze between the knees or feet. Bending the knees, stepping or hopping forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Crown of head, nice straight line of energy through the whole spine. Exhaling, folding forward. And one more time through that little twisting chair. Bending the knees, lifting up the arms, spinning the inner thighs down and back. Tucking the pelvis, strong legs. Inhale and exhale, open arm twist to the right. Inhaling back through chair pose. Exhaling, open arm twist to the left. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, chair pose, and exhale, folding forward. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhaling, stepping back, knees wider together, coming into a child's pose. Just to reset. Big deep breaths here. 3 breaths to reset. Feel the difference. Go ahead and take a walk through your body with your inner eye. Feel all the points of contact with the mat. Let your forehead sink toward the mat and your heart sink toward the mat. Feel your heart beating for you, your lower back lengthening and strengthening out as we keep the blood moving through it. Inner thighs and hips working. I am joyful and energetic. Rising up on your inhale into tabletop position. And we'll walk those hands forward a little bit. Tucking the toes under, spinning the inner thighs back, and lifting up into our downward dog. Beautiful, strong downward dog here. If you're feeling really tight through your shoulders, you can walk your arms a little wider or put blocks under the hands. Make this your downward dog. You are your body's best expert. You are the best expert on everything in your life. Inhaling up and exhaling. Firm, strong, joyful, and energetic body. Rising up onto the toes, bending the knees, stepping or hopping forward between the hands. Lifting up into halfway lift and standing, folding forward. So before we move into the next series, go ahead and just give yourself a moment here, bending one knee and then the other, walking out, stretching out through the hamstrings. And if you're feeling like you'd like a little extra stretch on your neck, you can interlace your hands behind your head right underneath the bottom of the skull and just give a little traction there. Lengthening out through the spine as we begin our next series. Coming back into a regular forward fold, knees bent or straight, hands wherever they land. Big inhale and exhale, preparing energetically and mentally. And then on the next inhale, bending the knees to a nice deep bend, coming back into our chair pose. And bringing the hands to heart center, we'll come and twist into a prayer twisted chair. So bringing the left elbow to the right, to the outside of the right thigh. Make sure that that left knee doesn't pop in front of the right knee. Using some muscular energy to enhance the twist, to deepen it a little bit. If this doesn't feel good, you can make a fist with that left hand and wrap it with your right, drawing in through the belly, pressing firmly through the heels and spinning my inner thighs down. Big twist here. And then I'm going to pick up the right heel and transfer all my weight into my right leg and step my left leg back into a twisting low lunge here. This is a deeper twist than what we started with. Opening up the arms if you like. And exhaling, coming into low lunge. And we'll lift that back leg up and just spin it open, spin both of our feet parallel with the edges of the mat, coming into a wide standing straddle. Hands wherever they reach. We want our feet parallel with the edges of the mat. They can be as wide or as narrow as feels good. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, forward fold. Drawing the heels in, gathering energy up from the earth, pulling it all up through your center, through your midline, rising up into our 5-pointed star. Big, open heart, draw the shoulder blades together, and exhale into warrior 2. On the right side, knee directly over the ankle, dropping in, bending through that front leg, head over heart, heart over pelvis. Gaze right out over the middle finger. Inhaling into a reverse warrior. Big side stretch. Back hand is above or below the knee, not on the knee joint. And exhaling, coming forward into our extended side angle. So keeping the knee as it is, leaning out as far as we can, and either coming to the floor or putting that elbow on the front leg. Still really spinning this front thigh underneath me and pressing firmly through the knife edge of the back foot. I am joyful and energetic. Feel that joy as energy traveling through your whole body. Nice long lines. And inhaling back up into warrior two. And exhaling, windmilling the arms down. Coming back into our plank pose and then straight into downward dog or knees, chin, chest, or chaturanga. Opening up into our cobra or upward dog. And exhaling back into downward dog. One big breath here. Exhaling it all out and then stepping or hopping forward between the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. And rising all the way up. Greeting the sky, greeting the sun with energy and joy. Inhaling back into that chair pose. Big inhale and exhale, hands to heart center. This time we're going to twist to the left. So nice deep chair pose here. Pelvis tucked under, inner thigh spinning down and back, and twisting to the left, bringing that right elbow to our left knee. Really working hard to make sure my knees are staying even and level with each other. Either keeping the hands in a prayer or making a fist with our right hand and wrapping it with the left hand. Squeezing, pulling yourself into this energetic twist. Inhaling, lengthening the spine, and exhaling, moving in a little bit deeper. And then lifting the right heel up, pressing all of the weight into the left foot, and as slowly and gracefully as you can, stepping that right foot back, lowering the back knee into our twisting low lunge, feeling a nice stretch not only through the spine here, but also through that right hip flexor. Inhale and exhale, coming back into low lunge. Keeping that heart nice and open, collarbones wide, collarbones lifting, shoulders dropping away from the ears. And then lift the back leg. We're going to spin our feet open so that they're parallel with the short edges of the mat and coming into our standing straddle. On this one, we're going to just twist a little bit, so feel free to make any adjustments you need, bending your knees or with a block. I'm going to bring my right hand over to my left ankle and twisting toward that left leg, getting a nice deep stretch through that outer hamstring here. Trying to keep my hips still level though. Inhaling back to center, halfway lift, hands on hips or on the earth, and exhale, left hand to right ankle, right hand, checking out the hips, making sure they're not going all over the place. So a nice spiral. This hip back in, I feel that nice long stretch through the outermost hamstring. Inhaling back to center, and then rotating the heels in, we'll rise up into our 5-pointed star. So toes pointing out, heels pointing in. Strong energy, drawing it up from the earth. Big open heart, and exhale into our goddess squat one time. Opening back up into 5-pointed star and rotating open into warrior two, heel to arch alignment, front knee right over the front ankle. Spinning that left hip underneath me. Lengthening the fingertips away from one another, opening up through the chest and heart. Trying to keep my head over heart over pelvis alignment though. Big inhale and exhale here, and then inhale into a reverse warrior. Back hand above or below the knee. Pressing through that knife edge of the back foot and squeezing that left hip underneath me and coming forward into our extended side angle. Hand to the earth, into a block, or elbow to knee. Drawing in through the belly. Big, strong line of joyful energy all the way from the knife edge of my back foot out through my fingertips, out through the crown of my head. Inhaling back up into warrior two, and exhale, windmilling the arms down. Stepping back into plank, and then either to downward dog or coming through a vinyasa. Opening up into our cobra pose or upward dog, and exhaling into downward dog. Big, deep inhales and exhales here. And then we'll walk the feet up. We're going to come into an inversion today, a crow pose. So if you feel a little nervous, you can put a block at the front of your mat. So we're going to start with our feet a little wider than hip distance. And, well, actually you kind of just put them wherever bring your heels together. And we're going to heels together, toes apart, squat down, widening the knees out. If you know how to get in a crow pose, then feel free to just have at and play with your flying a little bit. So this is a challenging pose for me. So I'm lifting on my heels, I'm on my toes, and I reach my arms forward as far as I can and then draw them back so that my shins are touching right underneath my armpits. So then from there, I'm going to kind of rock myself forward, pressing up through my hands. I've got my block here in case I need something to put my head on. And I'm drawing up so firmly through my lower belly as I come rocking forward. And then once you've got a shelf here, once I'm rocked forward enough that my arms are at something like a 90-degree angle, there's a shelf for my legs. I'm going to begin to lift up one toe and then the other, pulling so strongly in through my belly. Squeezing those heels in toward the glutes. And releasing back, or if you're super strong, shooting the legs back into our plank pose. Knees up or down, chaturanga, or knees, chin, chest. Lifting up into a huge cobra pose, so drawing the thumbs way back underneath the lower ribs, squeezing the elbows in, rolling the shoulder blades down. Trying to let go through the glutes a little bit. So soft through the glutes, but spinning the inner thighs up a little and toes pointing straight back. Huge open heart here. And exhale back into a child's pose. Whew. Nice work. Big release here through the lower back. Soften through the arms. You can keep them firmly extended or just let them relax onto the mat. And we'll go through that one more time. Practice our flying. So coming back up onto hands and knees and into our downward dog. Warm up through the legs and arms. We know it's coming this time, so we're ready for it. So slowly walk the feet up to about the middle of the mat. And then heels together, toes apart, knees splaying open, reaching the arms forward and then drawing them back until my knees can rest on the shelf right underneath my armpits. Tucking my chin slightly, leaning forward, squeezing those feet up. My gaze is 6 inches or so in front of my face. Squeeze, 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 hold. Feel free to rock in and out of the pose as many times as you need. Trying to keep my chin tucked a little bit. Inhale. Exhaling the legs back. We'll come into our chaturanga, our knees, chin, chest. Roll the shoulders back. Huge open heart. And exhale back into child's pose. I am joyful and energetic. Coming back up onto the hands and knees. We'll just take a couple cat-cows here to kind of keep our blood flowing and our body moving while we give our arms a little bit of a break. So inhaling, dropping the belly, bringing the chest forward through the gates of the arms. Exhaling, tucking the pelvis under, tucking the chin, pressing through the upper back. Inhale, lifting the chin and tailbone up, rolling the shoulder blades back. Exhaling, belly button toward the spine, pressing through the upper back, pressing through the hands. One more round. Inhaling, rolling open, wide collarbones. Exhaling, pulling that pelvis under, dropping the crown of the head. Back into neutral. I'm going to take a few spirals here, pressing our hips back toward our heels, moving in some huge circles one way, and then maybe switching the other way. We're getting ready for a little bit more twisting and some more strengthening poses. So get yourself nice and worked out here, and then walk the hands about a handprint forward, tucking the toes under, spiraling the inner thighs back, lifting up that tailbone, and pressing back into our downward dog. Awesome. We'll lift up through the right leg, keeping the hips level, and exhale, draw it forward, squeezing it in toward the chest, and bring it all the way forward, coming into our low lunge again. So dropping that back knee, and then we'll make sure our front knee is right over our front ankle. Bring that left hand down to the side of the foot and open up, just like we did at the beginning, into our twisted low lunge. One more breath here, and then we are going to keep our hands just as they are, untuck that back knee, and lifting up into our twisted high lunge. So sinking in here, trying to keep our front body twisted over here. And then once you're stable and steady, lower that back arm toward the back leg, opening up into this nice revolved high lunge. Keep bending through that front knee, squeezing, pulling the right hip back, left hip forward. Big side body and open twist here. And then coming back into our high lunge. We'll open up into a warrior two pose. So spinning that back, heel open, heel to arch alignment, bending through the front knee, squeezing the shoulder blades together, letting the arms relax a little bit even as we keep strong energy through them. So we are relaxed but strong. And then from here, we're going to come into our half moon pose. So take the left hand to the left hip. I'm actually going to back myself up a little bit. And walk that back foot in a little bit. We're going to place our hand about 6 to 12 inches in front of the right foot on the pinky toe side, either on the ground or on a block, whatever makes you feel stable. So we'll see how it works with the block today. So hand to the back hip, right arm stays nice and strong, and we're just going to rotate our body down, drawing that strong energy firmly up through the front heel and really, really strong through the belly. So opening up here, we want our back leg parallel with the earth, back foot flexed firmly, pulling up through that front leg. If you feel stable, squeezing the shoulder blades together, lifting that back hand up. I think I need to lift my back leg a little bit. I'm spiraling my inner thigh forward on my front leg. Big lines of energy here. And then slowly, slowly lowering the front hand down and spinning my hips forward so that now they're even, but keeping that back leg lifted. Now I'm going to just switch hands, taking my left hand where my right was and opening up into our twisted half moon. Trying to keep your gaze, your focal point, your drishti, your steady, focused, gentle gaze. Twisted half moon, this is a real challenge. Then lowering that back leg, we'll come into that twisted high lunge again. And then up and back into warrior two. Just for a breath, and spiraling the arms down. Knees up or down. Vinyasa, knees chin chest, or straight to downward dog. Exhaling here. Nice full breaths. And we'll go through that challenging little lovely sequence here on the other side. So lifting up that left leg, keeping the hips level with each other again. Foot firmly flexed, nice strong line of energy all the way from the heel, straight up through the whole midline of the body, drawing that knee firmly into the chest and bringing it between the hands, lowering the back knee, same as that sequence we did at the beginning. So right hand, the inside of the left foot, knee over ankle, opening up into our twisted low lunge. Feeling the difference between here and at the beginning of the practice. And then lifting up through the back leg. We will spiral open, keeping the hands just as they are, coming into our twisted high lunge here. So big, open energy. Squeezing the arms away from each other, but also letting the shoulders drop away from the ears. Spiraling that left hip under, front knee over front ankle. And then inhaling, reverse into this huge side stretch. Getting a nice stretch to the hip flexors. Big open heart, open energy. Back into this high lunge. And then we'll spiral up and open out into warrior two. So we are steady here and strong and maybe really sweaty. Front knee is over the front ankle, gazing out over the front fingertips. And then backing up a little bit if you would like your fingertips on the mat. I don't know. We'll just get our base nice and strong and then bringing the right hand to the right hip. Walk the back foot in a little bit. If you're going to use your block, get it ready. And then we'll come into our half moon pose. So hand down to the earth or the block, squeezing energy up, pulling it up from the earth through our heel all the way up through our pelvis and lower belly, opening up, twisting open. So our back leg is parallel with the earth, back foot stomping on the wall behind us. Toes nice and strong, foot is flexed so firmly. So drawing the shoulders away from the ears, squeezing the shoulder blades toward each other, and maybe opening that arm up. Finding your focal point, letting your gaze be soft but strong. A laser-like focus. Squeezing energy, keeping the line of energy going. I'm joyful and energetic. And then rotating that front arm down, letting my hips come level, but keeping that back leg lifted and foot still firmly flexed. Drawing in through the lower belly. I'm going to replace my left hand with my right and spin open into our twisted half moon. Beautiful. Find your balance. Hang out here. Big deep breath. And then slowly, slowly lowering that back leg. Keeping the arms open. Coming back into that open arm, twisted high lunge. Inhaling, arms back to center, and opening up into our warrior two. Wide collarbones, big, wide energy here. Shoulder blades sink down, the back body. Shoulders fall away from the ears. Arms drawing away from each other. And exhaling, windmilling the arms down. Coming into our vinyasa, either chaturanga to up dog or knees, chin, chest into cobra. And exhaling into our downward dog. Beautiful. Big inhales and exhales. So we're just going to do a quick, brief series here. Inhaling into three-legged dog. Exhale, draw that knee forward. Coming back into our low lunge. Lifting up this time straight. Exhaling the hands down. And straightening out that front leg into our half splits pose. Keeping a nice flat back. Stretching out over those hamstrings, which have worked really, really hard today. You can have your back toes tucked or flat, whatever feels best to you. But try keeping the toes really firmly flexed right now, still drawing in through that lower belly, pulling that right hip back. And then maybe trying to put that foot down on the earth and feeling a big stretch through the front of the ankle here. It probably won't reach the mat. It might. Just let it move up and down a little bit. See what feels good to you today. Nice flat back, keeping that firm. And then coming back into tabletop. We'll come straight back into our downward dog here. And then lifting up through the left leg. Level hips. And drawing that knee firmly into the chest forward between the hands. Lowering the back knee. Open up into a low lunge for a minute. And exhale, hands down. Straightening out that front leg into our half Hanumanasana. Back hip over the back knee. Folding forward. If you need to be up on blocks here, that's fine too. We just want to try to keep a straight spine as much as possible. Not rounding too much, but letting the stretch be whatever it is for you today. Lengthening out those hamstrings that we have strengthened so much. And then coming back into low lunge and into tabletop. We'll come through one last vinyasa here. Knees, chin, chest. Lifting up, drawing up through the lower belly. Open through the collarbones. Inhaling into upper dog or cobra. Exhaling into downward dog. And we'll stay here in this downward dog for a few breaths. So if you find your shoulders are tight or tired, you might want to try placing them up on blocks. Or just widening them out. Spinning those inner elbows forward and the outer upper arms back. Finding oppositional energy. Of course, they don't really spin away from each other, but that's the energy we're trying to get. Spinning the inner thighs back. Lifting up long spine. One more big full cycle of breath. And then on your next inhale, lifting that right leg up, we're going to come into pigeon pose. So getting ourselves cooled down here, nice big stretches. So front right knee toward the right wrist. We want to keep our hips pretty level here. So if you feel your right hip rolling off, you might want to put a block or a blanket underneath it. Back toes point straight back behind you. So feel free to use the strength of your left foot to walk your leg kind of back or forward. We want a nice deep stretch through the outer hip, the inner thigh, the left hip flexors here. So continuing to draw in firmly through the lower belly for another breath. Nice straight spine, and then go ahead and fold forward any amount and just let everything go. We're going to release deeply into this pose for several breaths here. So sometimes I like to move incrementally through the pose. So using props to help me, to help signal to my nervous system that it is safe to soften and release. And then as you're in a pose, feeling that invitation almost of your body to just move a little deeper, sink a little deeper through the layers, through the strata of your body. So with every breath, just notice whatever's going on in your body. Pay deep attention with that inner thigh to whatever sensations are occurring. Where do you feel it most deeply? Soft, slow inhales and exhales. Releasing. If you find yourself with really intense sensations in a deep hip stretch, sometimes it can be helpful to release through the mouth, letting it go, sighing it out. Folding deeper in if that feels good. Letting the heart sink and the head sink. Feeling quiet into your body. Take one more full breath cycle here. And then on your next inhale, using the strength of your arms, press back up into our nice flat back. And then we'll lift up onto the back toes and come back into that three-legged dog. And this time we'll take a few big hip circles. So circling that hip one direction and then the other. Making nice big circles, lubricating that hip joint. Lifting back up to three-legged dog and open up the hip for just one round. Feel your open hip energy, open heart, pressing that heart back, even shoulders, leveling the hips back out and lowering that right leg. Take a couple pedals and just notice the difference between your legs. And then on your next inhale, lift that left leg up, level hips, and exhale, drawing in through the belly, knee to chest, bringing your left knee towards your left wrist, the shin either parallel with the front of the mat or at an angle, whatever feels good on your body. We want no pressure on the knee joint. So if this is hurting your knee, go ahead and take a reclining figure four pose. So taking your time, walking your back leg wherever it needs to go, feeling if that left hip is rolling. If you feel yourself rolling off to the side, then go ahead and prop yourself up. If you've never tried propping your hip up, I really recommend it, because even if you've got flexible muscles, every time you use something to just support the body a little bit, it really does send a signal to your nervous system that it's safe to release, and you can find yourself getting even deeper into a pose. So props are for everybody. Big inhales and exhales, and then let yourself come down however feels good. Back toes pointed straight back. Noticing what's happening with your breath, all the sensations in your body. Deep hip stretch, deep hip flexor, inner thigh, outer thigh. Let yourself sink into it and travel through your body with that inner eye. And if you feel inclined and safe, come down a little deeper. Honoring whatever your body is asking of you and telling you today. Deep, slow breaths. One more full cycle of breath. And then using the hands, walking back up. We'll tuck those back toes under, removing any props, and pulling that left leg back up into our three-legged dog and make some big hip circles here. Really keep everything moving, switching directions. Lifting back up into three-legged dog, and this time opening up. Nice big wide hip. Lifting that knee up to the sky, flexing the foot, and coming back into downward dog. Feeling those open hips, open hamstrings, or hopefully at least more open than they were a few minutes ago. And then we'll come forward into tabletop, lowering the knees down. Just lower all the way down onto the earth. We'll come into one more little heart opener here. So bringing the hands back behind us, gently tucking the chin. Just lift everything up into locust pose. Strong back body, spinning the inner thighs up toward the sky. And then if it feels good, grabbing ankles, opening, drawing the feet away from the chest. Stretching through the chest, lifting up through the knees, trying not to let them splay up, but squeezing them in toward each other. Firmly flexed foot, or both feet, squeezing open to our bow pose. And lowering everything down. One deep breath here in Belly Shavasana. And then pressing up, we'll come into a seated forward fold, just to gently kind of get us back centered here. So, legs straight out in front of you, pulling the fleshy parts of your glutes back, sitting on the sits bones. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, hinging forward at the hips, letting the hands fall wherever they do along the legs. And then let the head drop a little bit. We'll round just for a couple breaths here. Really signaling to our bodies that it is time to relax now. Inhale back up to seated pose. And we'll come to lie down on the back. Slowly, slowly. So last little push here through the core. Nice straight spine. Pull in through the lower belly. Belly button towards spine. Slowly, slowly lower on to our back. Drawing the knees into the chest and squeezing here. Feeling supported. Feeling strong. I am joyful and energetic. And we'll come into happy baby pose. So knees toward the armpits, grabbing anywhere along the legs, insides of the feet or outsides of the feet. Trying to keep the whole spine on the ground as much as possible. So drawing that tailbone away and just pulling those knees toward the armpits. Stretching through the groin, stretching through the inner thighs. Feel free to rock side to side here if that feels good. Straightening out one leg. And the other, that feels good. Straightening the leg always gives me a nice stretch through my bicep and chest muscles too, so that always feels really good to me. And then drawing the knees back into the chest, we'll just take a brief little supine twist. So taking the hips a little bit over to the left, we'll just drop the knees over to the right, squeezing that belly button up toward the sky. One last little twist here. Left arm extended, maybe looking out toward the left hand, but don't wrench the neck, even though head is relaxing on the ground. We're not wrenching the spine here. We are loving our spine, energizing it, strengthening it. Inhaling, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twisting a little deeper as though we could squeeze our belly like a sponge, twisting that belly button up to the sky. And then on your next inhale, draw those knees both into the chest again. And walking the hips over to the right a little bit this time. Knees together or crossing one knee over the other. We'll just drop them off to the side. Letting them fall wherever they do. Trying to keep that right shoulder on the mat. Big inhale to lengthen. Exhale, squeezing, twisting the belly. Belly button up to the sky. Looking gently out over the right hand. Or in that direction somewhere. Let the head stay supported. Really feeling the earth come up to meet you here in this twist. Your whole body supported by the ground, by the mat. Inhaling back to center. And we'll just take a few circles of the knees here. Circling in one direction, massaging the lower back. And in the other direction. Awesome. And then we will prepare our bodies for Shavasana. So taking whatever you need, maybe finding a towel or a pillow for the head, if that feels good today. Moving the hips, straightening them out. Nice long spine. Straightening the legs out in front of you, letting the feet flop open. Take your time as you prepare yourself here. Get yourself really comfortable. We're going to take a few minutes and really let our bodies incorporate all this work. So our blood is pumping. For just a moment, take your right hand on your heart, your left hand on your belly. Remembering our affirmation, I am joyful and energetic. And since one of the greatest ways to fill up with joy is to find things that we are grateful for, I invite you to just think of 3 things right now that you are grateful for. And they can be great big things or really tiny things. Grateful for a person or a pet in your life, or grateful for finding a toad in the yard, or a flower that blooms, or a ripe tomato. Those things are a little rare in our yard, so I'm very grateful when they happen. Grateful for this opportunity to move our bodies. And as you think of these gratitudes, I invite you to imagine that just as your belly and lungs expand with your breath, so your heart actually expands when you fill up with gratitude. Imagine it just growing larger and brighter. With every positive input that you put into your mind and into your heart, you grow new synapses, and we train our brains to look for the good. We are hardwired to notice what's dangerous and scary and bad and to remember those things. So every day, making any small effort to notice what is beautiful and good goes a long way. So now, as you are filled up with this joyful gratitude, go ahead and take your arms out to the side, roll the shoulders away and down, and take one more really big breath and exhaling out through the mouth. Let your body sink in now. Finding total relaxation, Shavasana.
Filling up now, some slightly deeper breaths, bringing your awareness back to the body, back to the touch of the body on the mat. Wiggling the fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, and slowly stretching out through the body. As you're ready, bending the knees and rolling off to one side, filling up again with that gratitude, that joy and energy. Pressing up to seated. And come into a cross-legged position. Bringing the hands together at the heart. I am joyful and energetic. Thank you so much for joining me today for this very challenging practice. Drink lots of water as you go forward with your day. Today, may you feel loved and loving, and may you be radiant. Namaste.